Hi everyone. What are 5 cons to doing Amazon Flex delivery? We're going to go into the 5 areas and possibly even a bonus one of concern. One of the first ones is that as you're looking for your blocks, there is no certainty or predictability of blocks. This is now the 4th day in my market where we've had virtually no blocks. On Wednesday, very late, around 5:30, several blocks did drop for just 2-hour block time frames, and they were for 6:30 in the evening to 8:30 at night. So there is no way that you can really build and produce enough income where the blocks are totally at the discretion of the station. You're not sure when or if they're going to drop. For a few days, suddenly they'll be dropping at, say, 10 o'clock in the morning. Then all of a sudden, the following week or a few days later, they might be dropping at 11 or 11:30 or even 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There's just no way to predict. So you spend a lot of time swiping back and forth, double checking to see if you have the ability to get a block where you can earn that money. So that is the first concern of not having a steady source of income on Amazon Flex, that you never know when or if you're going to have that block come down where you can earn enough money to keep coming in. And for me, GigWarriorJim, that's a bit of a concern. Also, we've got several other areas of concern that as you get to the station and you pull on up, you have no clue of knowing where you're going. That you could have that 4-hour block, you could have that 3-hour block. You pull on up, one morning you're going on up to the north area of your delivery area or your zone. Suddenly, the very next day, you could be headed 30 miles south. So until you've done enough blocks, and even if you're doing blocks like I've been doing them since they first opened up in my area, I don't know all of the shortcuts. Like if you were that FedEx driver or that UPS driver, you know your route because you drive that route day in and day out, 5 days a week, maybe a little more during the busy times, and you've gotten to know the people you deliver to, what their preferences are, also any of the shortcuts or areas where you know that you can't get in at, say, 11 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon because it's a very busy business and that they just cannot take any of the receiving at that point, so you know to get there early. Also, there is a major issue with Amazon's GPS system, and it's two different fold. The first bit is totally on Amazon, that I've gone to many neighborhoods where the roads no longer exist. You plain and simply are following the directions that the GPS is giving you, and you turn down a road and all of a sudden the road just ends. Yet according to the GPS, it's supposed to connect to another road. Well, they have not updated those, or if they have, that it's an area specific where the road was closed down due to say homes being taken on out for business development or another reason. But literally as you're driving down that road, it ends and you can't get to where you're going, so now you waste time backtracking, etc. The other thing on the GPS, and this isn't Amazon's fault, it's just some of the places that we do deliver to, you get way out in the country. And unless you're on a major interstate or a major highway, That's the only point where you'll have several of the cell companies with service. If you get off of these major roads, you have no service. So suddenly you have no way of getting the directions to where you're going. Many people have suggested that you download the offline maps. Those are good, but while you have no service at times, it's very hard for them to update to where you're at. I find the simple solution to that, where I've mentioned it before, is just getting a good Garmin GPS, or if you prefer TomTom, but one of the good major GPS companies, and that will help you because the satellites are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're not dependent upon the cell service. You can plug in and get the directions that you need. Also, at times where the instructions on the wonderful Amazon app seem a little weird, I'll go ahead and run the coordinates through the GPS just to double check and see what the Garmin says, to see if it has a better way or if what it is showing me is actually truly correct. So that's number 3, that you have issues on the GPS. Now, number 4, if you're multi-apping, and I do have a previous video that I did talking about having a side hustle to your side hustle. Also talked extensively about multi-apping, that when you're getting ready after you've done your Amazon Flex and you want to do an Uber or a Lyft ride, at times you really can't do that. And the reason being is now there's a lot of areas you have to get into where it is either a gravel or dirt road. When you're going down this, your car becomes totally filthy. Also, a lot of times that when you put in the boxes in your car, there's little bits of cardboard that'll flake off, a little bit of dirt here and there. So suddenly the interior of your car is also dirty. So that really cuts into your ability to earn, because you don't want to pull on up to someone's home on an Uber or Lyft ride with a filthy car. That filthy car will get your ratings lowered on Uber or Lyft, so that you now have to go take the time to either find where you have a, say, monthly pass with a car wash and drive to that location, or if you're in an area where the company you've signed up with does not have service, you're either going to have to pay out of pocket, get the car wash, get it looking sharp and clean, or forego that ability to earn that extra money on Lyft and Uber. Now, granted, if you do have Postmates or Grubhub or Caviar or one of the food delivery apps on there, it's not as critical that your car be looking sharp, so you could still activate those apps, move towards where you can get your car washed, and be able to get that all taken care of while still earning some money. So that's really, item number 4, having that dirty car after going into some of these areas that you cannot earn that extra money off Lyft and Uber. And now, item number 5 on one of the cons of having a Amazon Flex is that you lose money in a couple different ways, or lose time. First and foremost, when you are headed towards the station to begin your block, you're not getting paid. You're also really not able to set up and do, say, a Postmates food delivery, because it may take 35 minutes, but you have to drive 45 minutes to get to the station, and suddenly you'd be late for your Amazon block. So that's something that you don't want to do. I know from where I live in the southern suburbs to the station, on a good day, I can get there in 25 to 30 minutes. but on bad days at times it might take 45 minutes. So that is totally uncompensated time. That's your travel, just like if you had a regular W-2 job and you had to drive 30 or 40 minutes to work, you're not being compensated for that. Another big issue where you're not really compensated is if you have an undeliverable package or a couple of them and you need to return them to the station. At that moment, you do have a couple options. If you're going to be having a morning block on the next day, you can just go ahead and hold it, run it up to the station at that point. And that's what I've done several times. But then there is the other problem where you will not have that assuredness we talked about on the very first con of doing the Amazon Flex, the unpredictability of getting a block. So suddenly, if you don't get a block the next day, you're going to still have to take that package back on up to the station, so it's not counted against you. So you're not being paid for that. Now, you can end up setting your filters on Uber or Lyft and heading to the station. And if you pick up a ride while you're headed that direction to the station, that will help offset some of that. But returning the packages is one thing where that you are not going to be, covered or getting that extra money. Now, I did say there's going to be a bonus one. I'm going to throw this one on out there. And I've heard both sides. The biggest one is you've signed up for a 3-hour block. The station's overloaded you, which does happen at times. And it's a block that's going to literally take you 3.5 or 4 hours. Now, typically, you're not paid for that. Because on the other side, if you've gotten a block that was a 4-hour block and you knock it out in 2, they don't make you give back the money. Now, I have heard from several other people that they will go and contact, driver support and explain to them why that they couldn't get this done and to please adjust their pay. Several of the other drivers have said they've got that. I'm a little leery on that because, like I said, on the good side, when suddenly you've had that great block that you knocked out in half the time, they're not making you give the money back. And if you do that too many times, I've got a feeling that might lead to termination. So this is GigWarriorJim. Those were 5 cons to working the Amazon Flex with that one bonus where there is that time you may have to, spend a little bit longer to finish that block up when you're not going to get paid for it. Well, if you have any other questions, please like, subscribe, and leave any questions or comments below. GigWarriorJim, and I will follow one up because I do want to give the positive side, and we'll give 5 pluses on working for Amazon Flex. But like I said, the past week in our market, it's been very slow, if not impossible. We've only seen blocks drop, very late on a Wednesday evening, and they are only 2-hour blocks. So don't be dependent on only one gig or source of income. Have a wonderful day. This has been GigWarriorJim. Take care now.